For this exercise, we are going to use InDesign to create our tone and manner layout. So let's get started by creating a new document. So you can create a new document here, or you can use the File menu, your choice. So we'll make our new document. This new document, we're going to use print. All right. And we're going to start off with a letter size. And we will see that we have a width and a height, and the default, because InDesign is typically used for print layout, then the units of measure are going to be in picas and points, which designers use. Okay. Now, this is screen-based, so I'm going to switch the units to pixels. All right, so let's go ahead and select pixels, and now we'll see that our width and height are being called out in pixels. We're going to begin with an orientation of portrait. We want a single page, and our pages will be facing one another. Now this exercise is only going to use a single page, but we can continue, we can add as many pages at this point, or we can add them as we develop the document. Now, columns, I'm going to keep columns at 1 and the gutter, or the space between columns, as the default at 12, and it's not really going to apply to us anyway. Now, the next is margins. And I do not want to see the margins. I want my content to go right up to the edges in some cases, and I just don't need to see where the physical margin is on all 4 sides of the document. In the print world, it can be more important. So we're going to make sure that we are in fact linking all 4 sides. We'll select top. We'll type in 0, then you can just click somewhere, and now all 4 margins will be zeroed out. Real quickly, I'm trying to expedite what I'm saying here. Bleed and slug. This is for the print world. This is for dealing when images bleed off the side of your document, and it has to do with registration, and it has to do with the print process. It's not important for what we're doing. Okay? The slug is the area where the designer often places information relevant to the job and for the printer, the person who is printing the job. Okay? All right, so we should be good. We're dealing with print, we're dealing with letter, and we are changing our units to pixels because we're dealing with screen measurement, and that should be good for the moment. Let's go ahead and create, and then we are going to save before we get rolling too far here, and I'm going to save this into my folder that I've mentioned before, exercise 1 videos. You're going to save all of your files for each of your exercises or projects should be in a main root level folder. Keep everything organized in one place. All right, so let's open. We're going to call this file your last name hyphen TM layout. Okay, that'll be good enough for now. And this is an InDesign document. And we'll go ahead and click save. I'm going to hide InDesign here for a moment. Take a look inside of our folder, and here is our InDesign file. This file is a sort of a play-by-play backup So InDesign is an application which basically is self-saving. So if something happens, this should save you, all right? But I never depend on these. I tend to just save often while I'm working. All right, so don't be concerned if you see this file in the same root folder where you have saved your InDesign document. All right, let's go ahead and close this. We'll go back to InDesign, and let's first just take a look. I am in Essentials mode, and Essentials is the new layout in InDesign, or I should say in the last few iterations of InDesign they have switched to Essentials. You can also go to Essentials Classic, which is what the interface used to look like. So whenever you select a tool in this control area, the options for the tool show up, which is fine. And I kind of like this, but I'm getting used to Essentials. So we can just go back to regular Essentials. You can always reset, and you can, once you set up your workspace, you can save it as a new workspace. So you don't have to keep moving everything around. I will just go back to Essentials. Just to be on the safe side, I will reset Essentials. And now what's going to happen is whenever I select a tool, everything about that, as far as the properties, that tool, should show up over here. Okay? So you choose the interface layout which you prefer. I'm not going to worry about the CC libraries. We have pages. This is our single page. Later on, we will talk about the none, which gives you a blank start point, and then master pages. These are where you can create templates and apply the templates to individual pages. But we don't need to deal with this right now. So we will go to Properties. And what we will do next is go over to our Preferences, and we can start off in General real quickly here. And I'm going to suggest that you go through and sort of take a look around at each of the categories and make adjustments based on your needs. Now I'm going to first go to Units and Increments, and you will see that we, in fact, because when we set up our document, we changed our units of measure to pixels. Okay? And you'll also see point pica size, points per inch, 72. What I'm going to show you here is this is traditional. All right? But it's more difficult to calculate, so we just round it to 72. And I don't believe there's anything else in here we really need to deal with at the moment. So we will click OK. The next is we will go to File, and if you need to change, and I don't know that you can get at everything, but you can get at your document setup, okay? And you can make some basic changes to your document setup. We're going to go to Edit, and let's see, we are going to scroll down, and Transparency Blend Space. We are going to switch to an RGB document because this exercise is going to be screen based, and even if you print it, it will be fine. Now this way, when we deal with color, we're going to be dealing with the RGB color mode instead of the CMYK 4-color process mode and or the Pantone color management system. So we're going to switch to Document RGB because we're dealing with screen content. Then we'll go back up to Edit, and you'll see we have our color settings. We'll take a quick look, and our working space is sRGB. If in fact we were dealing with CMYK space, this is very common, the US web-coded swoop. This is assuming that your colors are going to go on a coded stock instead of an uncoded stock. Okay? And we don't need to deal with any of this other stuff like the engine, the conversion options engine. Your photo classes and your graphic design classes may have you making changes here. We should be okay. We're going to go back to Edit. We are going to assign profiles, and we are just going to verify that we are assigning the current working space sRGB. If you wanted a different color profile, you select this option, choose from the list. But we are working with sRGB color profile for our document, which is going to be in the RGB color space. So let's click OK. And what we will do next is go up to the window menu, and we are going to look for layers. And we now have our layers, and anytime we bring an element into the program, that element can be linked and or embedded. And we'll do that as we add our elements, but these two panels will be important, and you can easily collapse them like so. Okay. All right, so we have our document set up. We are ready to start laying things out.